Hello and welcome back. During this video, I'm going to talk to you about two more closing techniques, which are the demonstration close and the hot button close. The demonstration close is a technique that you can use right at the beginning, and it's very effective. You can use this close in almost any situation. The demonstration close is what you use to qualify the prospect with your opening words and to get a clear statement from the prospect that he is in a position to buy and to pay for this product. We used to use this close in selling mutual funds. We'd say, Mr. Prospect, if I could show you the very best investment you've ever seen, are you in a position to put $5,000 into it right now? The prospect might say, well, I don't know. I haven't got $5,000 right now. You would then respond with, what could you invest for? The prospect might say, well, I don't know. Then you'd ask, how about 3? The prospect might say, well, yes, I could invest $3,000. So you would then say, if I could show you the best investment you've ever seen, you could put $3,000 into it. What you've done now is that you have changed the focus of the discussion. The discussion is no longer about whether or not the prospect listens to your presentation. The focus of the discussion is, can you demonstrate or prove that you actually have an investment or product that is as good as you say? Now the onus is on you. Another thing you can say is, if I could show you the best sales training system that you've ever seen, are you in a position to commit yourself to it right now? The prospect says, well, if it's that good, I could make a decision right now. You then go through your presentation. At the end of the presentation, the prospect can't say, well, I have to check with the boss, I have to talk to Harry, I have to talk and check our budget. He's already told you in advance that he can make the decision. He's already said, yes, I have the money. Yes, I'm qualified. Yes, I'm in a position to make a decision. So a good, strong opening question that grabs attention and offers to give the prospect exactly what he wants is very powerful. If your question is well phrased, the only questions he should ask are, what is it? He should say, tell me more about it. You say, if I could show you exactly what you're looking for, are you in a position to make a decision today? In real estate, for example, I've seen this close used over and over again. One of the first questions that you should ask people when you take them out is, if we could find the exact house you're looking for, when would you want to take possession? Ask them as you get into the car. If your question is well phrased, the only reaction you should get, well, is of course if we find the right house. They may tell you that they don't know. They may tell you that they're not in the market at all. They may tell you that they're just taking up your time looking at houses because they have some spare time. This is not an invasive question. It's not a rude question. Your time is valuable, and you're entitled to ask if this prospect is really capable of buying and interested in buying in the short term. The next technique, the hot button close, is considered by many sales professionals to be the most powerful closing technique of all. The hot button close is based on the fact that 80% of the buying decision is determined by 20% of the product features and benefits. In my experience, probably 90% of the buying decision is determined by about 10% of the product features. Sometimes it's only one benefit that you offer that will cause the customer to buy. It's up to you to find what we call the hot button, the key benefit of your offering that is what the prospect wants more than anything else. You then push this hot button over and over again. Every time you mention the hot button, the prospect's desire to own your product or service goes up. Every time you talk about something that is not really important to him, his desire to purchase goes down. Good salespeople are those who question skillfully and listen carefully to the answers. They listen for what is called the Freudian slip. Now, the Freudian slip concept says that if you ask enough questions and give prospects enough opportunity to talk, they will tell you everything that you need to know to sell them. That's why the old saying, telling is not selling, is true. You're only really selling when you're asking questions and giving them the opportunity to tell you what they are looking for, what they want, what they need, what they're concerned about, and what their worries are. You're only really selling when you are listening attentively. The more you ask questions and listen, the more likely it is that the prospect will say, "This is what I'm looking for. This is the key benefit. This is the hot button." Now, there's a key benefit for every product or service that a prospect must be assured of receiving before he can buy. Until he hears of or sees that key benefit, he won't make the buying decision. One of my favorite stories is about a real estate agent who takes a couple to see a home for sale. It's an old house. It's what they call a starter home, a pre-owned starter home, one that requires lots of work. A handyman special, they sometimes say. So they pull up to the house. In the backyard, there's a beautiful flowering cherry tree. And the salesman asks the couple, "What do you think of this house?" And the wife says, "Harry, look at that beautiful flowering cherry tree. Ever since I was a girl, I wanted to have a house with a beautiful flowering cherry tree in the backyard." And Harry mumbles something like, "Shut up." You know how Harry is. He always says, "Shut up." They get out of the house and they go into the house. The salesman is no dummy. He walks in behind them. Harry, Mr. Tough Guy, comes in and immediately says, "Look at this. You'll have to replace the steps." The salesman says, "Yes, but look at that beautiful flowering cherry tree out in the yard." They walk into the house and Harry says, "The carpet is worn out. It'll have to be replaced." "Yes," the salesman says, "but from here you can see that beautiful flowering cherry tree, Mrs. Smith." As they walk through the house, they say, "Look at the living room. They'll have to put in new baseboards and new lights." And the salesman says, "Yes, but look at the beautiful view you have of that lovely flowering cherry tree from this room." This happens with almost every room they go into. Harry says the kitchen needs new plumbing. The salesman replies with, "Yes, but you can see that beautiful flowering cherry tree out the window." Harry says the bedrooms are too small. The salesman replies with, "Yes, but look at the view of that beautiful flowering cherry tree." At the end of the presentation, Mrs. Smith, who makes the buying decision in almost every home purchase, says to Harry, "I sure do love that beautiful flowering cherry tree." This was the hot button, and they eventually bought the house because of that flowering cherry tree. Your job is to discover the hot button and then push it over and over again by mentioning that key benefit over and over again. What amazes me is that salespeople will go out and talk, but will not ask enough questions to find out the prospect's hot button. The prospect will say, "I'm really interested in a house with a pool." The salesperson will say, "Isn't this a beautiful yard?" The prospect says, "Yes, but it doesn't have a pool in it." The salesperson says, "Here's a beautiful house. You could put a tennis court over there." The prospect says, "Yes, but it doesn't have a pool." The salesperson says, "This house has a wonderful basement." The prospect says, "Yes, but it doesn't have a pool." The prospect keeps saying, "What I want is a pool." As a professional, you listen for that hot button and you build your selling effort around that. Until you know the hot button, it's almost impossible for you to make the sale. So again, you must discover what that hot button is and push it over and over again. Now that you know the demonstration close and the hot button close, in the next video I'm going to teach you the next 3 techniques in my 24 techniques to closing the sale.